The Lunaverse, episode 26, by Rainbow Double Dash, series by Rainbow Double Dash, chapter 14, Arise, Knights of the Realm. Trixie had been before to Selena Cathedral before, of course, but for all of her friends, it was a new experience. They really should have had time to admire the scale, the architecture, and presentation of the grand throne room that led up to the throne of Equestria. The literal seat of power from which the fate of the nation, and countless others, was orchestrated. Bon Bon and Dinky should have been allowed to come in as well, but only Trixie had been summoned. Luna had only allowed her 5 closest friends entrance alongside her, no more. As such, the remaining 2 members of their little party had been required to wait in the antechamber outside. The throne room was built to be able to house nearly 250 standing ponies. With only the 6 of them, it was a long, echoing walk through the shadowed hall towards the Selena Cathedral, giving them ample opportunity to study the look on Luna's face, for Luna to study them. She did not look happy, but that was understandable. The throne room may have been soundproof, but the nobility upon leaving it had been anything but quiet. The gala attendees had heard more than enough snippets of conversation to know that something major had happened before the Selena Cathedral. Something that had scared the night court enough to send them scurrying off to their homes and apartments within Canterlot as soon as they could do so without actually looking scared. More than anything, though, the princess looked hurt. Luna regarded them for some time before speaking. "I only have one question," she said as she stood, descending the steps before the throne, voice echoing through the empty hall. "It is apparent to me now that your true intention was not to capture Zazane, but to get me to act the way you thought I should. You knew that I would speak with Zazane, knew that there would be consequences on the night court because of that. You manipulated me and used me towards your own ends." Luna stopped at the base of the throne, looking down at the 6 ponies in turn. "Why?" she asked, in hardly more than a whisper. The 6 ponies looked between themselves, each wondering who would speak first. It was Charlie. "We didn't use you, Your Majesty," she said. "We just, Your Majesty, the night court had to be dealt with now. Not a year from now, not 10 years, not after stars knows how many more attempts to manipulate us or any pony else. Not when Corona comes back to Canterlot. Now. We just wanted you to act, Your Majesty." "Oh, well, you succeeded then," Luna said in a droning voice, stepping before Charlie. "I acted. I loosed our raids upon the night court such as it has not seen in centuries. Though the ponies of it live 1,000 years, they will not forget what I did, what I said." She looked away, silent for several moments, as she scuffed a footfall on the ground beneath her. "They will not forget their fear. Good," Lyra said. She spoke somewhat louder than she intended, and her words echoed sharply through the chamber. Luna looked at her, and Lyra wilted before continuing. I'm not really the pony to say this, 'cause I'm a musician. I make my own hours, I'm my own boss. But good. Being a member of the Night Court is basically your job, so the Night Court should be afraid of you. Afraid if they mess up, you'll fire them. No pony should have to live in fear," Luna accepted. "They wouldn't have to if they weren't acting the way they were," Raindrop said. "Lyra's got the right idea. That buck-all attitude is half the problem with the weather captain we've got back at Ponyville. She's got connections in Cloudsdale. She knows she won't ever be fired, so it means she can goof off and be lazy whenever she wants. She's getting better, but only because I've been riding her flank about it." "What you wish me to do?" Luna said, her expression finally changing, taking on a look of sullen anger. "To never trust them again. To involve myself so totally I practically run everything myself. To transcend mere monarchy and become a tyrant." "No," Gartop said, tapping her hands together and looking up at Luna nervously. "No, we get it. That one pony shouldn't run the whole court. I'm sorry this comes as blunt, Your Majesty, but There are degrees between monarch and tyrant. No pony expects you to run everything, and I know you do occasionally act, when there's a full trial for some noble who can't get away with something they did. But all it meant was members of the Night Court would just try not to get caught. It wasn't preventing anything. They could do whatever they wanted, take whatever they wanted. But now they will be paralyzed. Luna cantered, wings ruffling, and I have delivered my ultimatum. A single misstep, and I come down hard upon all of them. That is no way to raise a nation. Maybe not, Dizzy said, raising a hoof. But look at what it was like. Look at Nightlight. He wasn't afraid of you. He knew how far he could go with threatening Ponyville. He went there, because he knew you wouldn't do anything except warn him off. Luna regarded each of the ponies who spoke, before finally looking at Trixie, her expression becoming hard again. Trixie thought at that moment, head bowed, casting her mind back to the politics, the sociology, and all the lessons that Luna had tried to teach her over the years. Some of it even stuck. What's it better to rule by? She asked. Love or fear? Both, Luna responded, feigning not, whichever one suits Rita and the times better. She shook her head sadly. You believe that now is the time when it is better that the Night Court fears me? No, Trixie said, shaking her head, because neither are as important as avoiding contempt and hate. But that's what had happened, Princess. The Night Court, your Night Court, held you in contempt. They knew your limits, knew what they could get away with, and how. Because they didn't love you, they didn't fear you, they didn't respect you. You were just one more obstacle to work around. Trixie spread her hooves. Okay, right now they're all scared out of their minds. But things will settle down. And like Ira said, they should be afraid of you. Or at least afraid of the crown. And what happens when you hold the crown in contempt? Well, that is not for you to decide! Luna exclaimed, spreading her wings as she glared down at Trixie. There was a plan in place, Trixie. All of you. A system for dealing with this. Yes, it would be slower, but it would not make ponies fear the crown, wondering if I might fall upon them at any moment, wondering if I might grow thicker and dispose them all, wondering if I might become another tyrant's son. Luna whickered and stamped her hoof at that again, sending an echo throughout the chambers. She seemed surprised when none of the 6 ponies before her moved. More so when Trixie stepped forward. So, you'd rather be afraid instead. The princess blinked. What are you talking about? I can see it now, Trixie said. You're not scared of being seen as a tyrant. You're scared of becoming one, even though you never would. You're so afraid. Trixie, Luna warned. Trixie ignored her. That you'd rather just let Ecclesia go through these cycles than risk taking any real action, using any of your power. Trixie bit her lip. You're afraid. All the time you're afraid. You're becoming used to it. You're scared of yourself. As well as I should be, Luna said. She leaned in. You don't understand. None of you understand. You say I could never be a tyrant, but you don't know. It would be easy. She leaned back, looking up at the Selene Cathedral. Grogar is banished into shadow. The Smooths was destroyed. T-Rack and Discord are imprisoned. The dragons are subdued. The griffins are weak. She looked back to the 6 mares. There are no monsters left. No threats except Cremona and me. Luna shook her head. I nearly became one in the past. Before Cremona, I nearly did. I only stopped because of ponies reaching out to me and helping me. I'm not like Celestia was. She was the strong one, the sure one, but she fell. She became the monster, and if Celestia can't, I can. She looked at Trixie. I can become a tyrant in a moment. I'm not strong enough. Yes, you are, Trixie objected. You're the strongest mare I know. Not just with magic. Your heart. She considered a moment before stepping forward, touching a hoof to Luna. And even if you're right and you're not strong, you're not alone either. You said yourself that ponies reached out and helped you before. It'll happen again too, if it has to. She looked at Luna in the eye. You're not your sister. Luna stared down at her student, blinking a few times. She began, glancing at the other elements. She let out a long breath and touched a hoof to Trixie's own, closing her eyes. She seemed to draw on a reserve of inner strength as she did. Perhaps you are correct. I don't know that you are, but perhaps there's a measure of truth to what you said. We'll find out in the coming weeks. Trixie nodded. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry we manipulated and used you. Maybe it doesn't make us any different from the Night Court. But there really didn't seem to be any other way. Luna nodded in understanding, if not agreement. She released Trixie, stepping back and ascending the steps to the throne. When she reached it and sat back down, she somehow looked so small in it. Just do not ever do anything like this again, she requested. You are the elements of harmony. You must set an example for Equestria, as I must. Can you promise? The mares looked between each other, before nodding as one. We'll try. That is all I can expect, Luna said softly, as she set her horn glowing. The doors to the throne room opened, but she beckoned Bonbon and Dinky in, rather than requesting the mares inside to leave. Bonbon looked worried, hurrying over to Lyra, while Dinky took a moment to marvel at the architecture and skill of the throne room, apparently certain that her mother was fine. Luna gave the two Odysseus a moment to go to their loved ones and speak, before raising her for their attention. I wanted to do this at dinner tonight, she said, summoning a small blue box and opening it, revealing the foci for the elements of harmony to be inside. To correct an oversight on my part. This is something I should have done from the moment you earned the elements of harmony. I should have defined your position and roles within Equestria in general, within the hierarchy of the Night Court. Luna looked at Bonbon and Dinky. Miss Bonbon, Miss Dinky dear, you two shall serve as witnesses. Witnesses? Dinky asked. For what? A gust of a smile appeared on Luna's face at the filly's question. She indicated that she should stand aside. She looked back to the 6 mares once they had, and she forwarded the 6 foci for the elements of harmony to the ponies' heads. Kneel, she instructed him. There was the slightest pause before Trixie's face lit up immensely. She was on her knees in Hawk's a moment later. The other 5 followed suit thereafter, smiles on their faces when they realized what was happening. Luna looked at Bonbon and Dinky, spreading her wings wide. With you now as my witnesses, she said, I declare this, that whomsoever wears one of the elements of harmony, if that pony be worthy of it, if they swear to defend Equestria from both enemies domestic and foreign, if they act for the good of Equestria without compromising the ideas upon which this nation was founded, if they display a care for the fate of others, be it the whole of the nation, a city, a town, or even a single pony, then let those ponies hereafter be known throughout Equestria. She looked back to the 6 mares who kneeled. As Knights of the Ram, let them be awarded all the rights and honors that Satan guarantees them, and let them further be rewarded by the right of approach. I'm going to stop there. As Trixie lost her balance and fell to the floor, after making a high-pitched stand, destroying even Luna's hearing. She picked herself back up in a moment, was grateful that the only pony seeing her faceplant during her own knighting ceremony were her close friends, and resumed her kneel. Luna chuckled a moment, before continuing, let them be rewarded by the right of approach. May they forever stand in the good graces of the eyes of the ponies of Equestria. Luna fastened each of the necklaces of the elements around the others' necks, and finished placing the tormented diadem on top of Trixie's head. Dame Raindrops, Dame Ditzy, Dame Canterlot, Dame Lyra, Dame Charity, and Dame Trixie. Rise now, as Knights of the Realm. The 6 of them did. Carrot and Raindrop stared at the elements, as though seeing them for the first time, while Lyra was swiftly joined by Bonbon, and Ditzy by Dinky, Both of them gushed congratulations. I'd just like to say, my knighting ceremony actually had a sword. Cheerilee was frowning a little as he thought. The right of approach, she said. That's something only the Viceroys have, isn't it? Trixie nodded, beaming up at the diadem that sat upon her head, spinning around in place, and caring not at all for how heavy it was at the moment. It means that if we want to speak to the princess, only the princess can turn us away. Her secretaries, her staff, her night guards, they have to leave us to see her. She tapped her host together. We have a direct line with the princess. It's power. Not much power, but it's real offensive power. I'm not sure I have to warn you not to abuse it, Luna said. She raised one hoof, getting the pony's attention. Technically, you have not truly been knighted. That is how the title of Lord Mayor is attached to the office and not to the pony. The title shall apply to whomever is chosen by the elements of harmony. At the moment, you cease. However, your place in the Night Court is now officially defined. You've been made Knights of the Realm, essentially a branch of the Night Guard, looking directly from the ground. Luna inclined her head. Nothing has changed for you, apart from minor privileges granted by being knights. You may still live the lives you have always have. Do what you always have. Your only responsibility is the defense of Equestria from extraordinary threats. Threats is the Siren's son. Luna stopped when Trixie came barreling up the steps to the Caecilian Cathedral, throwing herself at Luna and wrapping her hose around Luna's neck, nuzzling her mentor closely. Thank you, thank you, thank you! It's a hoof at the door! It's a step toward the Night Court! Thank you! Luna was initially startled by the embrace, but after a moment she returned it, smiling. It occurred to the monarch of Equestria that not too long ago, Trixie had been wondering if she was forced to give up her business in Night Court for the sake of her friends. But now, Luna had opened the door for her, reinforced Trixie's goals. You still have some ways to go, she told Trixie. But remember, Trixie, Dame Trixie. Trixie smiled slightly at being addressed as such. I want you to be happy, first and foremost. Aunt. She leaned away from Trixie. Thank you. I do not know what you did at the gala was right, but I know it was for me. She smiled. The Night Court will only benefit when you fully ascend to it. Trixie smiled at that, wiping her eyes as they began tearing up, before leaning in and nuzzling Luna again. Thank you, Princess. Long after the chaos of the gala died down, long after the first train had finally come in, and the ponies of Ponyville boarded it, eager to go home and rest, and get to work on fixing Ponyville again. A white unicorn stallion in his apartments in Canterlot, thinking over what had happened as he rubbed a glass of something very cold and nearly poisonous to his forehead. Viscount Prince Blueblood was weighing certain pros and cons of certain information he possessed, when there was a knock on the door. Blueblood counted himself particularly clever for making sure to remain slightly tipsy, and therefore prevent a hangover that would have turned the knocking into a cacophonous assault sound. He opened the door telekinetically without standing, though he did when Trixie, element of magic, burst upon her head for some reason, trotting in, smiled brightly, and levitating a variety of drinks and mixes after her. Blueblood replied her with one raised eyebrow, as he started mixing everything together. Now, I made the bar pony make this earlier tonight, she said as she mixed. It's very good, and I have a name for it. Blueblood raised an eyebrow as Trixie finished mixing and poured her concoction into 2 glasses, levitating over to Blueblood before draining the contents of her own. At length, Blueblood took an experimental sip of the cocktail. It was actually quite good. Trixie apparently had a hidden talent. What do you want, Trixie? He asked. Dame Trixie, Trixie had corrected, smiling brightly as he mixed another cocktail for herself and drank it down. Luna united me and my friends, and even gave us the right of approach. Blueblood blinked at giving mere names one of the hallmark powers of a viceroy, but decided it made sense. And really, in Trixie's case, All it really did was formally recognize their already close relationship with Luna. Ultimately, it was only a small modicum of power in the grand scheme of things.
Congratulations, then, Dame Trixie,
He said,
now what do you want?
I think it's more about what you want, Trixie said, as he set her aside all her cocktail mixes and sell straight vodka, or what you plan on doing. Blue Blood regarded Trixie as he took another sip of the cocktail.
You used me,
He said,
to get to Zazane. For some bizarre reason, I agreed. Then the next thing I know, Zazane is at the gala, having become some kind of monster. And all this happened while the entire night court was running out their mouths and exposing the darkest secrets. Every pony but mine, thanks to my choice of companions in the night.
Trixie nodded. Even you see the connections, she said, taking another shot of vodka. Blue Blood scowled.
Yes, he said, I can, and now I must decide what to do with that information. Because right now, all any pony knows is that you helped to capture Zane. No pony knows anything about how you put her up to poison in that court in the first place. If that were to change, the consequences to you, to your friends, to Ponyville, could be very great indeed.
Trixie nodded. That's right, she said. But you're not going to do anything about it. You're going to stay silent.
Oh.
Yes. Because it's the right thing to do. Blue Blood scoffed at that, drinking the cocktail again. Because Princess Luna wants all this to end. All the extortion and blackmail. It doesn't get any pony anywhere. Now Esley gave Blue Blood pause. The castigation of the night court that had happened earlier in the night was still fresh in his mind. It would be for some time. He'd never seen Luna so angry before. Mere anger didn't seem to encapsulate it. And her ultimatum, even if it had been delivered in the heat of the moment, even if it was unlikely, impossible even, that Luna would carry through with dissolving the night court if even one of them stepped out of line. Luna was clearly in a mood to come down exceptionally hard on any pony who dared step out of line in the near future. And for an immortal alicorn, the near future could be a long time indeed. But all that meant was Blue Blood had to wait things out. Sooner or later, things would calm down, and then, well, who knew where the 6 elements of harmony would be then? How much personal ability and prestige they might have amassed thanks to their positions, and how much they'd be willing to trade that for exchange of Blue Blood's simple silence. Trixie noticed Blue Blood's momentary hesitation, followed by its return to form. She didn't seem troubled by it. Indeed, she was smiling. Trixie smiled. And you're going to stop, she said, as Blue Blood finished his cocktail. Because I have just poisoned your drink. Blue Blood froze. He looked down at the empty cocktail glass in horror, before looking back at Trixie.
But you made it in front of me. You don't like it too,
he exclaimed. Yes, but I have the antidote. It's not a normal poison anyway, the newly created dame said. She held her front hose up. It's the truth poison Zane let loose on the gala tonight. It's a two-parter. The first part, which was in the drink I made, is utterly harmless on its own. Once into your own stomach and intestine cells in, it can remain dormant for years, waiting. In the second part, a little magical spark is introduced. Trixie smiled. Well, you saw what happened at the gala. Imagine that, but just you, or however long it took for the truth poison to wear off. Hours, days. What would you say that you can't take back? Blue Blood stared at the cocktail glass before hurling it away from himself, as though it were coated in a far more deadly poison than what Trixie was implying. He glared at the blue unicorn, nostrils flaring and having to restrain himself from physically charging her down and making her give him the antidote. She wouldn't, he knew. She was far better at this game than he had realized. Now, he was paying the price.
What do you want?
He demanded once more. Trixie spread her foreloves. Not much, she said. Just don't mention that I set up Zane. Really, it's in your best interest, too. You set me up after her, after all. I don't think any pony you told would be very happy about that. And Luna, well, I wasn't there, but I hear there was some kind of ultimatum.
Blueblood's lips curled. On.
Trixie shrugged. And nothing. That's it. See that eyes with Blueblood. The rules have changed, Viscount. Or rather, they're being enforced now. I don't need to trade favors and vices with you. I'll get into the night court the way a pony is supposed to. I'll earn it. And all the other power I gain there, I'll earn as well. I won't have to trample on other ponies to do it. Her eyes narrowed. But if you want, then we can play the game an old way instead. And the first pony I will trample will be you.
Trixie used the bottle of vodka to salute Blueblood as she stood, then trotted over to the door.
To your health, Viscount Prince Blueblood.
Outside, our friends were all waiting for her. None of them looked particularly pleased at what they had heard.
That's what you wanted us to miss the train for? Raindrops demanded. How's that better than anything the Night Court ever did? Didn't Luna just finish telling us to not do this kind of thing anymore? Charlie asked.
Trixie smiled, leading her friends away from before leading them in conspiratorially.
He's not really pleasant,
she said in a low voice. The other elements stared at Trixie.
Huh? If I really poisoned him, there's like a dozen anti-venom spells he could use to get rid of it. And Truth of a Skirts doesn't last that long anyway. It flushed out of his system in less than a day. But he can't use the anti-venom spells without identifying it first. And to do that, he needs to find it. As long as he does it, he'll have to assume it's either a knife there, or he missed it and can't detect it.
Trixie smiled.
It won't last forever. But it'll last long enough for every pony to calm down. It'll keep Blueblood from doing something stupid. It's not really using him. It's more like giving him something to do to distract him. By the time he figures everything out, and even if he does, the Night Court should be a long way towards reform.
I still don't like it, though, Charlie said. Trixie paused a moment before nodding and sighing.
I don't either, but I know Blueblood. He'll come back and haunt us with what he knows someday, unless we keep him busy right now. Demonstrate to him that we can play his game and play it better. He was a loose card to tie up.
The others jumped at slightly at that, and Trixie held up her host.
I don't mean it like that. Good,
Trixie interrupted. She could have sounded angry when she did. She sounded disappointed.
I want you to promise me, Trixie, that this is it. We're not going to get involved in political games anymore. And you're not going to either.
Trixie didn't hesitate, putting a hoof of her heart.
I promise,
she said. She looked to each of her friends.
Because you'd never forgive me if I did turn into another Blueblood, another green grass, another nightlight. She shook her head. It wouldn't be worth it. I'll mix up another bath to prove poison to prove it, if you want.
Here are 5 ponies looked between each other. Raindrops acted first, trying up to Trixie and putting a hoof on her shoulder.
You don't need to do that, she said. This promise the next gala will be just a gala.
Trixie nodded and began to promise. But Blueblood's door chose that moment to open. The 6 looked and saw a pink-maned, pink-coated, pink-tailed pony bent out backwards from Blueblood's apartment.
Bye-bye, she called, waving in. I need to get back to Ponyville and help opening the bakery and ordering new stuff for the cakes. Oh, but I'll come by this weekend. And I'll bring syrup.
Pinkie Pie turned, saw the 6 from Ponyville.
Oh, hi, girls, she said, bouncing on past them. Sorry, you talk. You gotta get the train.
The 6 ponies watched her go, before looking back into the door of Blueblood's apartment, where the unicorn was looking out, first glaring at Trixie, though his expression changed to one of confusion at the sight of the newly created Dane. She had frozen in place, mouth open and surly sighing, as the color drained from her coat, as the full implications of Pinkie leaving Blueblood's apartment hit her. She started, syrup. Blueblood blinked, just smiled wickedly, looking past her and at Pinkberry. And blueberries, he called.
Okie dokie looking!
Trixie eat and shot off at full speed, realized he was charging towards Pinkie Pie, and turned,
bolting in the opposite direction. Blue Boy wants to go, considering for a few moments. Political revenge? That was off the table. But Blue Boy saw no reason why he still couldn't find some way to get back at Trixie, even if it means he had to be more benign.
I suppose, he said. Yes, I consider that a start.
With that, he closed the door. Epilogue. Look at Ponyville. Look at Ponyville. Starting its north and east. Look at its apartment buildings and residential area. Note the state of them. The walls are strong, and the cracked glass and broken windows have been removed and cleared away, waiting an Earth Pony who's going to be practicing his trade extensively in the coming weeks. He hums happily as he works. Never expected this much business, but he's rapidly becoming a wealthy stallion, even though he is doing all the repairs at a fraction of the cost for his town. Look inside any home. You'll see beds and sofas and cushions for sitting on. They're all in place, many of them carrying stains, but the stains have been scrubbed off and cleaned, some of them long overdue anyway. New furniture is prevalent too. Move to Ponyville's east now. The wide open plaza in this section of Ponyville is bustling with ponies. The Sweet Apple Acre stand is giving out apples, and pulled from the storehouses is supplemented what is ready to good to go. The farmers are meanwhile even now organizing with each other, taking a break from repairing their farms, even as they work together to make sure every pony gets what they need to repair their livelihoods. Even as they take advice from the Orange Earth Pony in the Stetson on how not to just fix, but improve their farms. Now move to Ponyville South, then up to the west. The south and west in Ponyville are being dominated by proper businesses. That is, stores with windows and wares kept inside four sturdy walls. This being a small farming town, the owners of the business frequently live in apartments over their shops. Ponyville has a little bit of just about everything available to its citizens, or it normally would. Not right now, but that will change soon enough. Whether it be a shop for a clothier, a candy mare, a jeweler, or a baker, these business ponies are already hard at work, looking over their inventory, finding out what needs to be ordered, and drawing up lists. Soon, they'll be open again. Make sure that the ponies of Ponyville have whatever they want. Now look at Ponyville Center. The town hall has been cleaned up. A sea of paper sets around it are gathered up on the way to the organization. Ponies go into and from it as a base Earth Pony works as an auditor sent from Canterlot. The two ensuring that the large pile of cash bits that Ponyville had received to help its recovery gets to the ponies who need it as quickly as possible. The Weather Patrol station, meanwhile, has a new top for its cloud silo, and it sits open at the moment as the blue, rainbow-maned Pegasi works hard with the rest of her team to wrangle in the fresh cloud shipment from Cloudsdale to supplement the clouds they already made in Ponyville. Night Court's representative's home, meanwhile, already has a new window. Now head to the town proper, out to the farms. Crops have been replanted, irrigation systems are repaired, or even enhanced. A carrot farmer is already beginning to see the fruits of her labor. In just a week, her carrots will be ready to pull from the ground. At Sweet Apple Acres, trees that have drowned due to the pond breaking its banks have been cut down or hauled off for firewood, while the pond itself is once more back within its banks. The apple trees are already recovering. Now look to the skies. The sky is blue and full of light, puffy clouds, organized to perfectly balance the necessary sunshine for the crops with the equally necessary shade for the ponies who tend these crops. It is a warm day, but not too warm. The Pegasi have resigned for a constant cooling breeze. Ponyville looks like it has been through a war. In fact, it has been through a party. A party not of Pavillion's own design, but one that had devastated the town. But, party or war, it was over, and the recovery process has begun. Slowly, the town is rebuilding itself. In some ways, it'll never be the same. In others, it'll be better than before. As the day closes and sun sets, and the moon rises into the sky, 6 friends come together on a hill that overlooks the town. They're all exhausted, some from physical labor, some from paperwork and scurrying from one place to the next. But they're all smiling at the sight of a town well on its way to recovery.
A single thought burns in the mind of every mare and stallion in Ponyville. We can fix everything.
Okay, now for the review. Oh boy. People, for those of you who don't know, this was the most divisive, argued about episode of the entire freaking Lunaverse. So much so that it helped earn a darkness-induced audience apathy on TV tropes, I think a broken base, and a few other comments on the tier minus very page alone. So I've been kind of dreading doing this review because, oh boy, I know a lot of people have a lot of thoughts and a lot of submissions about it. But as I said before, I do this story for fun. And I don't want any arguments. I don't like anybody any fights. So if you got any type of disagreements, just don't take it out in the comments. Say what you liked about it. Say what you hate about it, but don't start any fights. Because I'm not going to start any fights with you guys. If you have a disagreement or you say that this is wrong, be my guest. Now that public service announcement has been out of the way, I like this episode. I do. But it's not without its problems. The biggest problem for me, surprisingly, it's not the darkness-induced audience apathy. It's not the blackmail. It's not the political regime. It's nothing of the sort. My biggest problem is kind of like the finale of season 1 of the show proper. This doesn't feel like a finale to me. Oh, it's the finale of the political game stuff and all that. But it doesn't feel like the season finale. Let me compare this to the Grand Galloping to the best night ever. My biggest problem with the best night ever is that it doesn't feel like the finale of season 1. It's just another story. Because, well, to me, a good season finale should be bombastic. It should feel like this is how the season ends. This is how everybody's going to remember the rest of the season, and how it ends is going to get you pumped for whatever's going to come up to next. Best night ever, it doesn't feel like that. Now, Return of Harmony, which I should mention had the season 1 opening, and had callbacks to everything that happened in the previous season, and was able to link everything together, and we saw everybody working and talking about it. That, to me, feels like a season ender. This just felt like more like, okay, we had some fun, we had some laughs, we talked, we smoothed, we move on, bye, toodles. That's what this feels like to me. This feels like it's just another adventure for Trixie and the others. It doesn't really feel like it's the season finale that makes me want to see what happens next. If anything, I would rather say that the true season finale of this whole entire show is the Crisis on Two Equestrias. Because that makes me feel like we have encountered something. We have moved on. Here, all we got is the knighting scene, and even Luna herself says, I should have done this ages ago. And she's kind of right. I mean, if the show proper wasn't aimed at the age groups as it was, I would have loved to have a knighting scene. Note to self, write fanfic that has a knighting scene. Oh wait, I already did. I mean, one that would be set more in the Prime first, in the main 6 universe. Gotta do that. But, yeah, I don't feel like this truly was the season ender so much as the episode that concluded everything, that finished up a certain arc. That's it. My other problem is I gotta do was that the rest of the Lunaverse 6 did more in-between stuff. I mean, we got scenes for each one of them in there, but in the beginning, they were completely absent. And their loss really did feel like it hit hard, especially for Trixie. I mean, I suppose on the one hand, you could say it worked to show that Trixie was alone and isolated, and she had really become distant from Canterlot, and that her true home and her true family are, of course, those 5 bears that she has gone along with. But I kind of wish that we had at least something with the main 5 showing how they feel bound about this and how they feel, a little sad. But there are also a lot of good points that I enjoyed as well. I love green grass, and I love a good villainous breakdown. I love that Blue Blade was a little smart in here, and I also love the trickery on this. Of course, this is part of the darkness-induced audience apathy, to which I say to all of you people, I've read darker, and I've sat through darker. I've written darker. But anyway, I don't mind the blackmail and trickery as much. It just shows that they were being smart and they were playing coyly. Besides, in the end, we see that they weren't really doing it. They were just using that trickery to get to freaking Zane more than anything else. It's all about smokes and mirrors. And in a way, that fits who Trixie is. This is a trickster type of character. So thus, she's playing up to her best strategy. Smoke and mirrors. Tricking people who are reading this. And tricking you guys as well. Making us thinking that she's about to do one way, but instead the other. Yes, at first we think she's going to aim for that, but instead we see she's about to do one other. I guess this is why I always say, give it time and actually read the entire story before you make a sudden judgment. I guess that's why I always say I hold off on certain judgments for certain seasons or certain series until I reach that last conclusion, until I reach that ending. Because once I hit that ending, I feel perfect. And then I can start making the discussions of whether or not this works or this fits or yada yada yada. I guess that's mainly due to the fact that I'm always a person that believes, much like in how Babylon 5 they said we don't know if we're doing right or wrong, we're going to let the future decide. That's how I always feel. Until this thing ends, I'm not really going to say, oh, well, this leads to that, this leads to whatever. I'm just going to focus on what the story means to me. And that's why I don't mind the Trixie scene. She kind of had no choice. What was she supposed to do? Let Blue Blood walk around, getting ready to find a way to attack her? Or just stick around and not allowing Trixie to... or finding a way to let her and her friends be hurt. She was kind of damned if she did or damned if she didn't. But Twilight would have found a way to handle this reasonably. Sunset's way would have been, deck this son of a bitch. Trixie's was perfectly who she is. By being smart and trickery. Heck, she even says she didn't technically poison him. She just outsmarted him. And proceeded to manipulate him and trick him and make him her bitch. That's what I love about this story. Well, that was one down. For the next few days, we're going to take a break to listen to Kindness' Reward, but the Lunaverse will be back with Crisis on Two Equestrias. I'll see you then.